and he is in business and has performed quite a bit over the years. What has been your experience in collaboration with others as you've grown from a one office, one person operation to 1,001 operation?
Well, good to break it down to what I could say in our organization, lessons learned. I came from an athletic background, being a football coach and then officiate as a referee and a basketball and football for the SWAC. And everybody in this area probably knows the SWAC for 35 years. So when I came into this position at Friends of Children, and we didn't have any money, I tried to transfer everything to what I call a team approach. And you know, if you saw the game last night or you've seen the games this past 2 weeks, it's called, they got to collaborate. They don't collaborate, they're not gonna win. But I look at this, I use a theory and a philosophy that poverty does rob America, but when the individuals collaborate, communicate, and coordinate, progress can happen. And I can show you the exercise that we use. The first thing we try to do in terms of collaboration is try to get people to sit down together, and the big word is trust. And that's a big factor. They don't trust each other. And the reason, because a lot of times the experiences show that a person does not feel comfortable in relating information that they know to someone that they may not know or may desire to work with. So if they could sit down and start trusting. And then we go to a format that we call very easily, Dr. Bundy, first thing you need to do is set the ground rules. When you sit down with a group or an individual and you talk about collaborating, you set the ground rules, and what I wrote down is the fact that any kind of prospective business, make it clear what kind of criticism the members will tolerate when you start out talking. When you start out talking to anyone, just what you're going to accept, what is not accepted, and promote key values in terms of such as integrity, that work together, we'll work together. And we do a common thing, and I go on to the next young lady, she's not a senior citizen, that fella's a senior citizen. And what we try to get people to do after they sit down and start thinking, because one of the things you want to think about, my ideas may not be your ideas. You may not agree with me, but we try to sit down and start talking about a little simple phrase we call a SWOT, S-W-O-T. We sit down and we said, okay, now what I first want to do, if I use Mr. Jenkins as an example, I said, Mr. Jenkins, give me one of your strengths. And we try to get the people to realize that all of us, if we are sitting here, we have a strength. Well, what do you think is one of your number one strengths? So we talking about SWOT, S-W-O-T, very, very common. Situation analysis, all it is, those who've been to school and all that stuff, but we break it down to common denominator. Then we go to zero, O, opportunities. What are some of the opportunities that's prevailing within the area where we are living? Now, the next thing we want to get a person to do, we want to look at W. And when I first introduced that, I said, what you talking about? I said, weaknesses. What is one of your weaknesses? I don't have any weaknesses. I said, that's the first one you have right there. You just identified that you don't have no weakness. All of us have some weakness. So when we start talking about that, we start talking about what. Now, after we look at opportunities, in terms of opportunity, what are some of the opportunities available? And what are some of the threats? If we continue to stay divided, we will not be successful. That's just a common way, because I say this in closing, and I come back. One of the things that I know up front now, corporations, foundations, institutions, they want to see organizations working together. If you plan to get any money out of a foundation, from my experience of some 45 years, I know you need to have the name of Ms. Sharp. Yes. I need Ms. Sharp's name on my resume when I send this in, showing that I'm collaborating with her, and that could be her company. That's a good mark in today's world, because the money is tight, but when they find organizations working together, you may get some funds if your proposal is good.
Well, Kelly, what about the mall, the Jackson Medical Mall? What has been your experience for the last 12 to 15 years that you've been in business in terms of collaboration around the mall and developing the Jackson Mall district?
Well, I think the Jackson Medical Mall and the Jackson Medical Mall Foundation can be seen as a prime example of why collaborations are successful, and they work. Many of you may know that the founding partners for the foundation are the University of Mississippi Medical Center, Jackson State University, and Tougaloo College. Some highly unlikely partners in the past, but we had some key players from each of those entities that saw an opportunity of a common goal that Mr. Hogan talked about, and that was serving the underserved, those who did not have access to quality health care. So they had a common goal, and we had to find a way, I'll take this off since my name tag seems to be upstaging me, we had to find a way for each of those entities to play a role in that. Jackson State was not a healthcare provider, but they could train students on hospital administration and ancillary services that are a part of healthcare and the healthcare system. Tougaloo College is known for producing many of the doctors in the state of Mississippi, if not the Southeast or the country. So we were able to pull on that prime characteristic from Tougaloo College. And in that way, we were able to say, that's why it's important that you come to the table and be a part of what we think is a very exciting experiment. And today, we are pleased to say that the Jackson Medical Mall is still the only facility of its kind in the country. And we have people calling us every day that have old buildings that they like to do something similar to what we do. So it shows where collaboration is working. We tell these folks when they want to come in and replicate what we have or create a model, we say talk to your leaders, your stakeholders, those persons that hold the purse strings, and decide which services that your community needs and tailor it to what you can offer. And it's about collaboration. More specifically, is it important or overrated for Black-owned businesses? I think it's where you are. If you don't have a capacity to get or respond to opportunities, I think that you should find a strong partner who has experience and capacity where you can latch on and learn from them. If you are a successful business and you have been awarded contracts and you know how to do business and get contracts, you may not need to collaborate. But I think it's important, the old saying that Jesse Jackson used to say, you know, each one, we teach one, and when you come along, you bring somebody back behind you. It's just a responsibility, I think, as a whole, to our community, the African American community, that you collaborate. If you don't collaborate, at least teach and bring them along and be a mentor.